Hi there, and welcome to the newest episode of Quakerly Conversations. My name is Will Overholt, the Assistant Director of Alumni and Parent Engagement, and I'm here today joined by Karrie Jackson, a 1993 alum and CEO of Evermore Accounting and Coaching. Karrie, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I know, real quickly, Evermore is located in Blanchester, so you're not really too far from Wilmington,
right.
But what's it like being back on campus today? You said you've been kind of on campus or around Wilmington pretty frequently, so what's it like being back?
I've come to Wilmington quite often, but I haven't been on campus in a long time. So, it kind of looks the same. I always think Wilmington's campus is really pretty. There's a lot of green space, I think is really pretty. So it's nice being back.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, it really is great to have you back. I'm really interested to talk to you about Evermore. But before we get into that, I want to hear about Wilmington College and your experience here, because you graduated with a degree in French, right? So tell me a little bit about your time at Wilmington and really kind of how that transitioned you into coaching or accounting and everything there.
So I started out at UC, actually. My first year of college was at UC, and then I transferred here just because I was a commuter, so it was difficult. Yeah. I've lived in Blanchester my whole life, so it was difficult with the commute, and I worked full-time and trying to go to school full-time. So the second year, I transferred to Wilmington and then finished up here. It's great. It was a small community. Everybody was super nice. The faculty was great. I just had a really nice time here. I did work full time. I still commuted to Wilmington, so I wasn't on campus. I didn't have that. But I just commuted. I tried to engage with Wilmington while I was here, but it was difficult because I did work full time also. Many semesters I took 21 credit hours while I was working full time, so I was really busy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. Are there any memories that you can think of, or anything that in your experience at Wilmington College that you can think back on memory-wise?
I would say mostly interacting with the faculty. There was one in my communication, because I also had a minor in communications. And one of my communications professors was just really great, because I also had I had my daughter when I was a junior.
Oh, wow.
So I was really busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would go to her house and we would work, and it was just, everybody was willing to help when you needed help. But yeah,
absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how then Wilmington College, or just your experience in accounting classes, business classes, took you into your career now.
Okay. So as I said, I did have a minor in communications and in marketing. I actually had enough credits in marketing to get another degree in marketing, but they required that I would have to take all of the other classes to get the second degree. And I just, at the time, I was working at Irwin Tool in Wilmington in their international business department. And so, I talked to my mentor there, and he was like, just graduate and just, with the French degree, and just, graduate. I took a lot of classes here on campus, but then I also did the Blue Ash branch, because at night they had a lot of business courses there that weren't offered here. So I would have to go there after work and take classes. And so my goal was to work in international business, international marketing. After my internship with Irwin was completed, I took a job at ABX working in their international division in the foreign trade zone, and just getting things through customs, that kind of thing. So I worked there for a few years until I quit there and bought my first business.
Okay, tell me about that first business then too.
I bought a little dairy bar that I started working when I was 14, just summer job, and it's the Dairy Point in Blanchester. And so I worked there through high school and some in college, and then it came for sale and I bought it when I was 24.
That's so crazy. That's really exciting. So
which is very different than what I went to school for.
Yeah.
But I did have a lot of business classes. You know, I had taken accounting, I had taken business management, I had taken all of the business courses that I could, and knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and own my own business. I just knew that about myself, so I jumped on the chance to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So then from there, you know, you talked about, you know, just in the information that you shared with us about working with churches, working with different businesses. You referenced businesses here in Wilmington.
Right.
What are some of the other groups that are businesses that you work with in your current role?
So we have a strong niche in the trades. So that would be anything. We have businesses that are in excavating, roofing, electricians, plumbers, all of the trade industry, builders, remodelers is probably our like our biggest sector. And then we do have nonprofits and churches and dental offices also.
Awesome. And I believe that you had mentioned that you had spent time actually as working in a dental office.
Yeah,
right?
I worked in there for over 20 years as their office manager and accountant there.
Wow.
While I was doing some of my other business things, and even worked there part-time while I was getting Evermore started. So I was doing both businesses at the same time.
Yeah. So explain to me, for people that don't understand, or really for anybody that's curious about it, a financial advisor, what does what's your normal day-to-day look like?
So for us, we do accounting and bookkeeping just like every other accounting. But what sets us apart is we really focus on the business owner and helping them grow in their business so that they have sustainability. You know, most businesses fail within 5 years. Over half fail before they reach their 10th year.
Wow.
So we really work on them understanding their numbers so that they have clarity and sustainability so that they can, like I said, grow their business. So we work, for me personally, like we have different people that do different things, obviously. So my focus personally is on the financial advisory, which would be cash flow management, that kind of thing, because you got to have cash flow.
Absolutely.
And then managerial operations and operational advisory. So those are my main focuses with business owners.
Okay. How important is the building relationships aspect of that job? Because it sounds like people management, development is vital to be able to, you know, even get to the table with business owners sometimes. Right,
it is. So just having the relationship and the connection with people is important. And it's important for business owners to be able to communicate with their employees. If they, you know, a lot of people that we work with, they're just the sole person, you know, they're trying to do everything. But as they grow and need to hire the next person, just having the knowledge that they need to make sure it's a good fit, personality-wise, all of that kind of stuff is really where we focus.
And recently, last year, you guys made the rebrand to include coaching in your name, you know, Evermore Accounting and Coaching. Is that kind of in that same vein of meeting the client's needs there?
Right, because I think a lot of people, we were, when we started out, Evermore Financial Services, and I think people thought, oh, we do their 401k or something like that. That's what you kind of, your mind kind of goes to, and or just even accounting. And we do so much more than accounting. So we, you know, the coaching programs that we do, we added marketing coaching also this year. So just all of the coaching that we do, we thought it would just be, you know, the next step to just put it out there. This is what we do. That way people know it in our name. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that you've got a team over at Evermore, and that, from what I've read, it appears to be a little bit different than what you've kind of done in your whole life, kind of being the sole person, you know, working on businesses, projects yourself. What's it like kind of stepping back a little bit and, you know, allowing the delegation, having a business partner, for example? What does that look like, and how have you kind of learned to navigate that? That was probably one of my biggest hurdles, was just being able to delegate, because when you do own your own business, especially at the beginning, you're doing everything because you can't afford to outsource anything. So you're the one that's making whatever it is you're making or providing whatever service you're providing, but then you're also the one that's doing the marketing. You're the one that's doing the finances. You're the one doing everything, and it's easy to get burnout. So as you grow, and knowing when to hire the next person, and knowing like what you need is difficult. So that was one of my biggest hurdles, is just setting up systems and processes and being able to delegate and trust my team. My business partner, our personalities fit well, even though she's my daughter's age, like she's much younger than I am, but I love working with all different age groups. We have some that are fresh out of college, and then we have the millennials, and then we have a couple of people that are my age, and I love having the different personality types and the different age groups, just to get differences of opinion. I mean, I get a lot of great ideas from the younger people, and so I just embrace it all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. I think that's unique to talk to somebody that has that stance, because a lot of business owners are typically people that we do it how we've done it. We're not open to kind of a difference in opinion or things like that. So that's unique. That's a unique take on that. I really like that. So you mentioned that in your kind of an aha moment is that, you recognize that everybody's wired differently. How do you yourself analyze that with people and then work as a team to be able to navigate those differences?
So in my operational and managerial advisory program, when I was taking some of those classes, a lot of what we did was personality testing. And so we do that on our own team before we hire anybody. We do that with our team, and then we also do that with our clients. So before they're hiring someone, or if there's a position that trying to identify a position that they need, because they might think they need one thing, but actually they need another. So we use a lot of different tools for that, and different personality testing, because not one tells you everything you need to know. And so when I was going through that program and did the personality testing on our own people, it gave you a check, because there are certain personality types that clash with mine. I am a high visionary and a strong D personality. But there are people on my team, as an accountant, you really don't want or need a visionary. You need an operational person, and you need a processor. The processors are the people that get into the details and the nitty-gritty, which is great. You need that for accounting. But those personality types tend to clash with mine, because as they're getting and focusing on a detail and get so focused on a detail, to me, I'm like, that detail doesn't matter. You're not seeing the big picture. And so there would be conflict. So I think it just going through that kind of changed my perspective. The problem wasn't their personality, it's how I perceived it. And so you need everybody on a team. You need the processor, you need the operator, you need the visionary, and you need, I don't know if you've read the book, The Synergist, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. But you need the synergist that brings everybody together, kind of the peacemaker. And so identifying who those people are and how you communicate to them was just life-changing.
I bet it makes a major difference.
It makes a major difference, and you learn to appreciate everybody's differences and what they bring to the table, because I really couldn't do my job. My business partner is a high operator. We wouldn't go anywhere if all I had was ideas and nobody to implement them.
Absolutely.
Or if she had ways that she wanted to implement, but nobody to actually do the work. And so you need everybody on a team, and just learning how to communicate. I mean, that's just one personality test, but learning how people just recognizes how they act under stress, like what they do, what comes out, your negative personality traits and your positive ones. We can quickly identify when somebody is showing signs of stress, and then pitch in to help. And we've done that many times. My business partner will come up to me and she's like, okay, I can tell because you're doing this, this, and this that you're really stressed. How can we help? And just our team works really great like that.
So talking more about the personality tests, I feel like looking at a team like that would help well with retention. That would help well with, really just team building in general, right?
Yeah, so we do a lot of team building. So we usually try to go away once or twice a year as a team.
Nice.
So we'll do a weekend or sometimes a week somewhere as a team, and we'll go through the personality. We keep that foremost in our mind. So we'll go through the personality testing. We're continually checking in with each other if we sense tension. I mean, we just call each other out on it. If I feel like you're have some tension with me about something I said, or I'll just confront it. I mean, it's just best to be open and honest, and we always try to do that. Like I said, we always try to recognize when somebody's stressed, to offer help, because we are a team. No one person is responsible for anything. Everybody's responsible to make the team flourish. So, we just try to, stay on top of the team building. And so education is one of our core values, so we always try to pay for classes that help with technology is always changing. So if we need to keep on track of that. So anything that we feel like the team needs to do, we'll pay for classes for that. But then we also want them personally to grow. So we encourage classes for that as well. Like right now I'm taking Spanish classes because it's very close to French and I'm picking it up pretty quickly. So I'm enjoying that. And it's just, we have some Spanish speaking clients. That's their first language. So that's really what drove me to do it. Is just the language barrier sometimes. There's a lot of Spanish speaking people in our area, and so just to be able to communicate is important.
Absolutely. At Evermore, I know that you are consistently having some Wilmington College students come in and intern, really involved with Wilmington College in that aspect. What's important about having Wilmington College students working under you?
Well, so I just know from going here and from living in the area, people work hard here and they really care about the community. And so when we were looking to hire our next accountant, I just reached out to Wilmington to see if they had someone, and she's been great. Like, she worked for us her whole senior year. And then I actually helped her get another internship her last semester at a tax CPA that all they did was tax, just so that she would have more experience in tax. And then when she was done with that internship, she came back to work for us. And we hired her. We weren't at the time ready for a full-time person, so she took a job somewhere else full-time, and then still worked for us part-time because she didn't want to leave working for us. She wanted to keep the door open. And then we were able to hire her January full-time, and so she left her part-time or her full-time job and came to work for us full-time, and it's just been great.
Why is that so important for you all at Evermore to have that wide open and out there, that these are our core values and this is what is important to us?
It's important because you need to know why you're doing it. Why are you going to work every day? Is it just a job to you? And none of my careers, none of the businesses I owned was just a job to me. It's very personal when you own your own business and you've started your own business. It's your baby. And so it is very personal to you. And so the reason you're doing it is personal to you, everything that you do in life. So it's just important that you know why you're doing it, put it out there so that everybody you hire is a good fit. I lay down our core values. Is there anything that doesn't mesh with you? And so we also do different testing, different questions to see if they do align with what we feel is important for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Purpose. I feel like purpose is a really good word there. I like that. We talked a lot about business. We've talked a lot about Wilmington College. What are some fun things that you enjoy doing outside of work?
So every day, I'm very systematic and just do the same thing every day. I eat the same thing almost every day, just a creature of habit. So every day I get up, usually around 4, and then I'm reading my Bible, and then I'm reading whatever book that I'm reading for my business. So we read a lot of different books on self-help or actually business things that we need to learn. And then I spend time journaling, and I spend time on my personal relationships. So it's easy to let your business take over everything in your life. And so it's important to me to just spend time with my in my personal relationship. So that's going through my journal. Okay, who do I need to contact today? Just a reminder to myself, I haven't spoken to this niece or nephew or this aunt and uncle or my parents or whatever. I need to make a conscious effort to call them today. So I'm planning that out. And then usually around 6 to 6:30, I start working out, and I usually work out depending on the day, because I have a weight day and different things. So usually I'll work out for an hour to an hour and a half depending on the day, and then I'm showering, packing my lunch, getting ready to go out the door, and then work starts.
There you go.
Yeah, and then as soon as I get home from work, I call that person that I told myself I was going to call that day just to check in, and then I go home and clean the house, normal stuff everybody does, but then I'm in bed by 9 because I get up early and I need sleep. So all my friends joke, like if it's after 9 o'clock, they don't text me, because they have texted me before after 9 and it'll wake me up. And so I'm like, oh, okay. 4 o'clock in the morning, you're getting a text back. So now they don't do it anymore.
There you go. That's cool. It's discipline, but I think that, you really fill your day up too. I'm sure at the end of the day, you feel really accomplished, which is really cool. That's spectacular.
Yeah.
I was going to ask kind of our final question for the day. What is a word of advice for anybody that is looking to be an entrepreneur, young or old?
I would say just to give yourself grace and not try to do everything yourself. It's easy to get caught up thinking you have to do everything, or you don't trust somebody else to do something. But just asking questions, finding a person that you respect that maybe would come alongside you and just help you. Like I said, ask questions. Just don't be afraid. A lot of people are afraid to fail, and so they don't want to ask a question to seem like they're not making it or whatever that means. But everything is a learning opportunity. Not all of my businesses were successes. And so, learning from your failures and just continuing to grow as a person is really important.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. Again, just wanted to highlight Evermore. Again, you guys were located in Blanchester, correct? Anything else that you want to share about Evermore?
No, we're located in Blanchester, but we have clients all over. We have employees that work in other states. We are fully remote capability. Just with the technology that we use, we're able to work from anywhere and with any client in the United States.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to talk to you and learn more about Evermore. So we will catch you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks.